the board to deal with the settlement agreement. So we'll take a brief recess and come back. And that way, the board committee reports will be done before we take that recess. We have a fairly short agenda today, so it probably, it probably won't hold any of you up very long if we just do it that recess that way. So the amended agenda is adding at the following the board reports a closed session to deal with a signed agreement on a settlement report. So our first item of business is a public hearing on a zoning district amendment 02024-002ZC. And we have our staff too. Thank you.
Good morning. Hello, I am Christy Gross with the Olmsted County Planning Department, and I'm here to talk about O2024-002ZC by Tim Peters. The owner is Chaddock Light Trucking and Foreign Inc. It's located at 7450 Highway 14 East in Section 12 of Marion Township. It's on the south side of Highway 14. It falls east of Chester and east of the city of Rochester. Its current zoning is A3, which is an agricultural district. The request is to go to an agricultural, resource, commercial, land-intensive, low-impact district, which we call Arc Lily. So you can see on the map that it is adjacent to an existing Arc Lily property that was changed in about 2015, 2016. And then the RSD is a rural service district, and that is the Chester area and a little extension of it. Otherwise, everything in green is an agricultural district, either A2 or A3. Mr. Peters would like to reutilize the site. It is an existing commercial site. It's an existing salvage yard with car sales and auto repair, and he would like to no longer utilize it for salvage and instead put storage units on it for self-service storage facility. And this will all be addressed in the conditional use permit if this zone change were to be approved. There are some use comparisons for the A3 and the Arc Lily districts. They are very similar. I know this is a very busy slide, but the main point is that the Arc Lily, anything that's permitted was permitted in the agricultural district, and everything else requires a conditional use permit. And when looking at the permitted or the conditionally permitted uses in the Arc Lily district, there's nothing that is too intensive that doesn't fit with that surrounding area. As you can see on the map, it's adjacent to other commercially zoned properties. It's an existing commercial use. It wouldn't be out of character. So the findings of fact, there's 3 that I would like to highlight that support the request, is that the Arc Lily district was created to allow for land-intensive uses that require little water and sewage uses. The proposed use would require very little, if any, water or sewer use. And the conditional use permit could address any potential nuisances that could arise from those future uses. The most intense use in the Arc Lily district, again, would be in character with the surrounding area, and it would not cause any issues at this property. And the property contains a legal nonconforming use that will be memorialized with the zone change, so it couldn't get any more intense. And he's actually talking about reducing those nonconformities. And again, those will be addressed in the conditional use permit. Planning staff and the planning staff, based on the staff report, recommend approval of the zone change for 3.97 acres in Section 12 of Marion Township to go from the A3 to the Arc Lily district. The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on March 21st. There was no public at the meeting, and they recommended unanimously to approve the zone change request. And with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Members, are there questions? remind you that this is sort of a continuation of the hearing that we had earlier. Questions? And thank you for your presentation. Is there anyone from the public who would wish to comment? Hearing none. I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion prevails. All right, we have a second item, proposed,
We have to make a motion.
oh, make the motion to approve. Thank
The
you.
zoning district amendment 0204-002 ZC.
We have a motion and a second to approve the zoning district amendment 02024-002ZC by Tim Peters. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion prevails. Moving now to the next item on our agenda is a proposed revision to the fee structure for solid waste management ordinance. And who will be taking that? Here we go. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sharon Schriever, Olmsted County Environmental Resources Department. We are proposing a change to the Olmsted County Solid Waste Management Fee Schedule to add a $25 fee for a compost drop-off kit so that folks can do a pilot study, so that we can do a pilot study to get information about whether people would be interested in sorting their recyclable or their food scraps and bringing them to us and paying a fee for that. And so this would just add a $25 fee for that service and the bags and instructions and things like that. And then this would be for a 6-month pilot study.
Members, are there questions?
I have a question. Are we concerned that this will be a barrier to people wanting to participate, that they will literally have to pay to do something and then drive the food waste to a site?
It's probably not for everybody. I mean, people can do it in their backyards if they want to. It's just kind of a launch into seeing, pardon the pun, but what the appetite is for doing food separation.
Right? But I mean, the fact that we're asking them to pay to do a study as compared to,
Yeah. A lot of the services that are offered in other communities do require a payment for that. So it's kind of seeing whether people would be up for that as well.
Is it $25 one time, or is it?
Yes, it's for the whole 6 months.
Oh, and it's a 6-month study.
It's a 6-month study. They'll get 26 bags, which would be 1 a week. And then they can come to the recycling center to drop those off.
Okay.
Commissioner?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Senchum.
Thank you. What do we hope to learn from this? I mean, whether the food is pure, so to speak, compostably pure, or what? What are the objectives?
Some of that, and then just to see, if there's an interest in pursuing composting further, and that what people would do the right thing and, put the right things in the bag and those kinds of things. And just, and the payment piece of it, because it, costs money and we're an enterprise fund. And then just, we do have 48 people signed up on our waiting list right now, just from talking to people in the community. There's 48 people that are interested in signing up that we need to email if this is approved.
Great. Thank you, that's all I
I'm
need.
glad you mentioned that, because we did hear this in committee. And as often happens, as you hear something, then you think about it a little bit longer, you wonder. And I wondered, how are we going to get to the 100? You tell me we already have 48. And so how will you get to the other 52?
I
It'll
think,
just happen?
yeah, I think there's enough interest. We've, only spoken to we had talked about it at the Olmsted County Waste Energy Facility Open House and then at Earth Fest. And that's where we got the signups.
Okay.
So.
And then why don't you review with us how we're going to measure whether or not this is successful? How will we know?
Actually, we're looking to kind of balance the budget on it and make it pay for itself is why we're doing the $25 fee. And then, just to get interest, we have a survey prior to signing up, and then we'll have another survey to see, who's interested in this and what types of services they would be interested in.
Any questions?
I have a question, Madam Chair. If interest is affirmed or confirmed by this pilot, is there a conversation about potentially a pickup of compost and organic wastes in the future?
I'm sure that would be on the table. We would also, kind of see what the hauler's interest was in providing a service like this as well.
If there are no further questions, I will entertain a motion.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Oh,
Question.
You're right. I need to ask, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment? I jumped to conclusions. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment? Is there anyone online that would like to comment?
I move to.
Seeing no one for
move
the
to
public
close.
hearing, seeing no one seeking public comment, I'm going to turn to Commissioner Rossman, who has a question.
No, I was bringing your attention to Commissioner Mueller would like to ask a question.
Commissioner Mueller has a question.
With this program, is it gonna, or is the intention to bring it forward to the entire county? Or is it just gonna be the residential areas, the smaller, the cities and stuff like that?
This particular pilot study probably wouldn't make sense to take it out to Byron, to have to drive it in, for an environmental benefit. But it's, basically open to whoever wants to sign up.
So you're not marketing it beyond the city limits of Rochester, but it's open to anyone in Olmsted County who wishes to participate.
Right.
And not going to become forced upon people?
Not at this point, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Like, for future, could see, potentially doing another pilot study of a neighborhood, kind of like, this is going back in my history a bit, but we started recycling by providing information and containers to the folks in Country Club Manor, so it was a separate group, and I could see something like that potentially in the future if we wanted to do that.
So would it be fair to say that at this point, our environmental resources folks want to see if there's, I want to say appetite, that's probably the wrong word. If there's interest and support by people who, they'll support it so much that they will pay to be able to have the appropriate containers and self-haul for recycling, and that you're thinking that you will learn something from those early adopters, that then you can decide if there's another level of pilot or if there's sufficient interest to open conversations with the haulers. And at this point, the dream might be that there is a full program of recycling of organics, but right now we're just at the very beginning stage of seeing if there's any interest at all and willingness to do the extra effort and pay to be part of this process.
Exactly. Thank you.
So to do that, we passed in committee, but as I said, we keep having questions.
Madam Chair?
To do that, we need to have the fee approved. It's a temporary fee for this pilot study. Commissioner St. John.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since this is a fee hearing, the question is the fee sufficient to handle the costs on this? I'm just thinking about my understanding is this compost is going to occur in Iowa, and so, we're probably going to drive down there, who knows how many times in 26 weeks, but back and forth. Is $2,500 enough to
I think
at least break even on this?
I believe, Commissioner, that the break-even point is around 150 people, 130, 150 people to break even. So depending on that, it's not a huge budget charge
Sure.
to do this program.
Okay. It's sufficient. Thank you.
Other questions? Other people I've missed? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So, since I always buckle this up here, first we'll close the public hearing and then we'll move to approve. So,
Motion
do I have a-
to close the public hearing.
A second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion prevails. Is there a motion to approve the $25 fee?
I move to approve the $25 fee for our pilot project.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the $25 temporary fee for the recycling of organic waste. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion prevails. Thank you very much. We're going to move now to our consent agenda.
Madam Chair, may I be heard on the consent agenda? Item letter N, I noted a typographical error in the resolution setting a special election.
All right?
It identifies August 6th as the date for the special primary, and the Secretary of State has set August 13th as the date for the general special primary, and so that should be corrected when the consent agenda is approved.
Can you advise me on what the appropriate motion would be? Would it be appropriate to have a motion once I've read through the list to amend that one?
Yes, you could remove it from the consent agenda and handle it as a separate item.
All right, thank you. So that is what we will do, ladies and gentlemen. Our consent agenda, and one more editorial comment, is that we have a lot of celebrations and proclamations this month because we have a lot of dedicated staff and a lot of issues that our staff deal with and raise awareness with the broader public. So you will note lots of proclamations, and we heard in the Human Services Committee that some celebrations are underway for these events. So our consent agenda. Recognize May 6th to 12th as National Nurses Week. Proclaim May as Mental Health Awareness Month. Proclaim the month of May Building Safety Month. Proclaim May as Supervised Visitation Awareness Month. Proclaim May as Foster Care Awareness Month. Release the deed restrictions on Outlot A, Foxcroft West subdivision. Appoint Commissioner Podolsky Smith to the Selco Board. Make an appointment to the Civil Service Commission. Make an appointment to the Extension Commission. Make an appointment to the Public Health Services Advisory Board. Contract award for SAP 055-612-021 for CASA 12. Approve the 5-year extension of the Internet Crimes Against Children Joint Powers Agreement. Accept the Minnesota Department of Health's Minnesota Innovations in Prenatal and Infant Health Grant Award. Approve the Dispatch Memorandum of Understanding. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion prevails. And welcome to the new Civil Service Commission member who's in the audience. And thanks to Commissioner Podolsky Smith and Commissioner Mueller who reviewed all those volunteer applications. Glad to have you aboard, Mr. Bilderbach. So now we'll take up item number 9, N on the consent agenda, which is to accept Sheila Kiskaden's resignation as County Commissioner and set a special election date for August 13th, 2024.
That would be the special primary if
That would
necessary.
be the special primary.
So
So-
moved.
So we move to amend the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Madam Chair, discussion?
Of the amendment to the resolution? We're amending the resolution right now for the date.
Yes, but I would like to speak beyond just this amendment.
Let's do the amendment and then we'll allow you to speak. Because you're not speaking to the amendment, correct? All right, then we'll ask you to hold. So I have a motion and a second to amend the resolution number N to revise the special election primary date from August 6th to August 13th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion prevails. Now, perhaps I could take a motion to entertain the approval of the motion and the amendment, and then the consent agenda item, and then move to your comments Commissioner.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve the amended Resolution 24.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to move the resolution in under the consent agenda. And you wish to speak to that?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I would just say, you and I have been around the political table for a while, and this is with the regrets, no question about it. I'm sure, and I hope there will be a day when we can more sufficiently say it, but thank you for your service, Sheila. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and I know that you have offered many, countless, maybe 12 years of county board service, maybe more than that, actually. And for that, I'm sure this community is very, very thankful, and I am as well.
Very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. It truly, it's been a highlight of my career. I've enjoyed it. It's a wonderful capstone. So we have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion prevails. And now we get to have an update from the city of Byron. Welcome. This is part of our effort to be more in alignment with all the cities that we have the pleasure of attempting to serve, and we welcome you to our meeting today.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Al Roeder, City Administrator in Byron, and I assume this is for my PowerPoint. I will try and be succinct, but I do want to start by saying thank you. We've heard a lot about your staff already this morning. I want to continue that theme because we've been blessed with working with the folks in Public Works and the folks in the Planning Department, and they've been tremendous. I've been in Byron for just under 2 years. I was fortunate to inherit a lot of activity that had already started. The staff and the council started down the road of progress. And what you're going to see here today is a continuation of that. We started just under 2 years ago with a strategic plan, and this is really going to highlight not only where we're going, but some of the progress we've made in that process. In our strategic plan, we identified 3 primary focal points: being intentional about our growth, engaging our community, and enhancing recreation. Under being intentional with our growth, we're concerned about diverse housing, strategically expanded boundaries, because we are a growing community, and thriving small business community. Engaging our community, I know the county has been very active in this area. We want to engage in cultural community events that embrace the growing and diverse community that we are becoming. 35% of the people that live in Byron today were not there 10 years ago, and that makes a difference. Enhancing recreation, we're looking at recreational opportunities for all people of all ages, pedestrian-friendly community, speaking to trails and opportunities to move through the community, non-vehicle, and multi-purpose community spaces. In the first year of our strategic plan, we said we wanted to update our land use ordinance, establish a diversity council, create a community marketing plan. Byron struggles with its sense of identity. Who are we? And that's something that we're trying to figure out, quite honestly. And we wanted to update our orderly annexation agreement. What we've done so far is we've updated our land use ordinance. We have established a diversity council that is focused on how do we create a welcoming environment, a welcoming community to all of our new residents. And then we've updated our orderly annexation agreement to the extent that we are able to, primarily with Calmer Township, which is where most of our growth is happening right now. Being intentional about our growth. This will be a big surprise, I'm sure, to everybody. Highway 14 interchanges are very important to us. That hit the top of our list. Business growth. What are the amenities that we need to provide to our citizens? Affordable housing, lodging and hotel amenities. In the first year of our effort, we have undertaken a community branding effort to identify that question, who are we? What is the identity of Byron? And create a community marketing plan that will build off of our branding project. For those of you that may have seen it or may not have seen it, there is currently a capstone survey for non-residents. It is on the Byron website if you're interested in telling us what you think about Byron from a perspective of those that do not live in town. That will close here in about 5 days. So if you are interested, we'd love to hear from you on that. Engaging our community, establish new volunteers and expand our groups to manage events. We rely on volunteers, as a lot of our organizations do. We want to collaborate with other groups for sponsorships and supporting these events. And we want to be active in our marketing. What we've completed is 2 community surveys identifying citizens' priorities for where do we go. We have limited resources like everybody else. What is it that the community wants us to do for them? Our Diversity and Inclusion Council has been created. They are very active and making progress. Next steps, more opportunities for bringing our new residents together with our established residents. We want people to get to know each other. Our motto is, being a neighborhood-friendly community. Our pool is struggling. It's not a new theme. We have to figure out what we're going to do to provide that amenity to our community. A community center committee has been put together loosely. We are looking at what does a community center mean to Byron specifically. We're also expanding our social media outreach. We've hosted some entrepreneurship workshops. We hope to do more. We've created social networking events. We have our once-a-month music in the park. Actually, it's in the park behind City Hall. That will take place around the Good Neighbor Days celebration in July. So those are happening as we expand all of our summer events. Enhancing recreation, we're identifying people that we can collaborate with so we're not reinventing the wheel. We've initiated some conversations with DNR on regional trail connections. We're a small pinpoint on the map for the Stagecoach Trail. We see that as being very, very important. We know it involves Dodge County, Olmsted County, the cities of Casson and Byron, and coming into Rochester. What a great connection, and that's what the people are asking for. That's what's being demanded in our society anyway, what we're hearing from our folks. So we're looking at how do we continue that effort as a cheerleader and a sponsor to the extent that we're able to. Identifying adult league organizers, approving plans and specifications for a new pool. Funding for the pool has to be created. Money always has to come into the equation someplace. And we want to complete an in-city trail system. So far, we have had those conversations with DNR, and this summer we will complete our in-city trail system. We will have a complete loop in our community with 2 trail segments that will be done this summer. We're looking for grants for trails around our athletic complex at BCRC. We're looking at our soccer complex. How do we improve our fields out there? They get a lot of heavy use in the summer, and there's some things that we need to do to address the wear and tear there. Community needs assessment. We're reaching out, trying to, again, to listen to our community members. Valley View Park improvements and regional trail conversations are in the works. Specifically, Valley View Park, we're excited about an opportunity here that presented itself. Our Youth Basketball Association stepped up, both with plans and finances to help promote expanding basketball courts and sand volleyball opportunities in our central park. This is one of the most important parks in our community. We are also updating our playground equipment and enhancing our T-ball park. It's a very underutilized park for what could be there. This is a design that, again, citizens brought forward and citizens are participating in with our park staff, and we appreciate that kind of involvement. We did purchase, or we're in the process of closing on a property adjacent to our Public Works facility. This is an old grocery store and restaurant area. Some buildings have to come down. It's in the center of our community. We're going to clean those up. Those buildings will be down this month. The city is going to hold this property for our future Public Works expansion. Instead of looking for land and trying to move our Public Works operation as we grow, this will allow us to do everything in one central location, capitalizing on the investments we've already made. So this is a long-term planning effort looking to the future. Highway 14 impacts. We can't talk about Byron without the Highway 14 interchanges. We very much appreciate our interaction with the Public Works staff at Olmsted County and in trying to work through this, and the folks that have helped us look at funding and bonding opportunities, the state bonding bill opportunities. This is the County Road 5 interchange proposal, the official mapping. You can see that as this develops, this will open up over 350 acres of development opportunity for the city, largely in the commercial and industrial arena. Huge opportunity for us as we grow. Very, very important to our continued growth. This map does not show it, but RMS, Road Machinery Services, has built just south of where this interchange is. That growth continues, and there's going to be more opportunities. County Road 3 is another interchange in the official map, also has significant impacts to that growth area. New developments. These are all within the last 12 to 15 months. At the north end of 10th Avenue and 20th Street on the northeast corner of Byron, we're adding 22 lots of residential. This has been annexed in. Phase 1 should be developed this summer. We're just finishing the preliminary plat process this month, or anticipate that being finished this month. We have 8 lots on the west edge of town on 4th Street. Leading up to the left-hand side of this picture is County Line Road. 8 single-family lots being developed there. East Village 5th, this is the last area being developed on the southeast side of town, right on County Road 3. County Road 3 is on the right-hand side of the picture here. The railroad tracks are on the south side or the bottom of the picture. There's another 34 lots being developed there. And we have a multifamily project that is in the works. The plans are being reviewed. We anticipate approval of that yet here in May for 56 units across the street from where the Fairway store is. Dollar Tree is building at the corner of 10th Avenue and 4th Street. Back to our commercial expansion. This is happening organically. This is not taxpayer money. This is not public funds being used to incentivize this. These folks are coming in because it's the right place for them to be. And I feel like I just did a 100-yard dash. I apologize for speaking quickly. I do appreciate your time, and I'd love to take any questions you have.
Well, we're glad to have you with us and to learn so much about what the development of Byron is underway. So are there questions from members? Mr. Rossman.
Great presentation, Mr. Roeder. I love that you said that and spoke to this attitude. Byron really does struggle to kind of define itself. You know, it has been such a tremendous growing community with great resources in the schools. We see lots of great things happening there, but so I'm really happy to hear that you're concentrating on that and putting an identity to that. As we think about growth, you know, all the projections we see, we're going to continue to see a very steady growth in Olmsted County. And you spoke to, which does not surprise me, that you have great relationships with our staff and respect everything that's happening. But as we think about that growth and housing and planning and infrastructure and everything that goes with that, tell us where we can improve. What are you not seeing, or with this growth, what kind of challenges, new challenges are you going to have that maybe we're not thinking about that we need to be?
Well, I think the biggest challenge, and it's no surprise, we'd love to see a lot more money coming from Olmsted County for interchanges and for trails. I understand. I think that the continued partnership, I don't know that there's a shortcoming. I think the issue really comes down to this partnership. We've talked with the staff about trails. We've talked to the staff about, look, your planning department, and we use your planning department for our building inspections. They're fantastic. I can't say enough about the benefit of that and the ability to work with them and how great they are to help us out. I know it's a contract relationship, but not all contracts are great. This one is. I appreciate the planning department's perspective on how can they expand and work with us. We're working through opportunities there.
Great.
Economic development. I know that we have a meeting coming up discussing opportunities for economic development in Olmsted County. I applaud Olmsted County for looking at that. In a previous life, I was a county economic development director. I see the benefit. I see the opportunities there. And the fact that your staff would reach out and say, let's talk about that, not just to me, but all of the communities in Olmsted County is a testament to your commitment to the rest of us, and I appreciate it. Our law enforcement agreement is very solid. I appreciate the sheriff's commitment to that, and quite honestly, the quality of officers that we have is outstanding. And a lot of accolades, a lot of pats on the back. I've seen good. 32 years in the business, I've seen some not as good, and we really are where we need to be today. As I find those opportunities for growth and improvement, I know that Ms. Welsh is open to listening to it, and I'm not afraid to discuss with her, because she's also been very good at listening and seeking out those things. So you've surrounded yourself with the right staff. Thank you for that.
Any questions? As usual, I have several. So, Mr. Roeder, what's the population right now of Byron, and then what are you anticipating? What rate of growth have you anticipated?
Well, right now we are just under 7,000, 6899 or 6988, so in that area. Where do we expect to be? Gosh, as you look at the new subdivisions and the new developments, I don't think that we're very far away from 10,000. Is that 5 years? Is that 10 years? I think there's a lot of things in the economy that will dictate that we can't. But we, like everybody else, we saw a slowdown over the last 15 months, not as much as most people. So I think that it's going to continue to happen as Rochester grows, as Mayo Clinic continues their efforts. We're seeing those impact us as well.
Your housing development plans are really very, very strong and impressive. I'm wondering if you have any sense of what kind of homes are going in. Are they entry-level homes? Are they middle-income homes? Are they upper-income homes? Is it a mixture? What's happening?
We have all kinds. Summerbee Development has some more lots still available that have already been platted. Those are on the higher end of the scale, generally speaking. The lots, as we understand it, at the northeast corner of town will be larger lots, more expensive homes. What more expensive means, they all look expensive to me today, but I think that those will be a little bit higher end homes. East Village 5th will be more entry level. It'll be more of that, the moderately priced homes for what that is in new construction. Currently, East Village is selling in the $400,000 range, roughly speaking, and I expect these will be similar. They're a little bit smaller lot, more for that entry level. The ones on 4th Street West will be more of the affordable housing, entry level type of housing. We also have some other discussions happening, but most of those are going to be, again, a mix, and it's all over the board. What we really need is more of that workforce housing. We've chased that. We're trying to find ways to create workforce housing opportunities, both multifamily and single family. Entry level, what does that look like, and how do we promote that? Every time we visit with a developer, we're promoting that. But they are going to build the homes that they know are going to sell. And whatever market is active is the ones that, I would expect, rightfully so, that they'll be building. We do need diversity in that area.
This is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but not entirely. As you heard through the public comment period, there is a volunteer group looking for land that can be available for them for curling, and you have recreational goals on your city's agenda. Has the city of Byron entertained a proposal from the curling club?
We have discussed with them opportunities in Byron for curling, yes. There is a reason that, quite honestly, Rochester proper makes more sense. Being an avid curler myself, I would be remiss if I had not approached them and been engaged in that. So I have a vested interest both personally and professionally, yes.
And then if you don't mind, and my board members will tolerate, you and I are serving on a committee that's doing some exploration. I don't know if it would be an appropriate time to ask you, but at some point, I think your perspective, having worked in a different part of the state where there was a regional economic development entity of some sort, I think we would benefit from knowing about your experience at some point. And it's not on our agenda today, but we are, as you know, as you meet with our staff, actively looking at what role should the county play and how does the difference of what we can do compared to smaller cities or compared to the rest of the region. As you talked about your population side, I'm remembering the meeting you were at, the Southeast League of Minnesota municipalities meeting last week, and we had that review of all the various federal funds that are available to cities under 10,000 that our cities tend not to be able to take advantage of. And so that conversation I hope we can have with you at some point in the future.
I would love that conversation for the benefit of the board. I will just leave the teaser of, I don't think that we can ever get to the point where we have too much cooperation or coordination of effort. As large as Rochester is and as large as Olmsted County is, there's still an opportunity for all of us to grow together. And that, concerted effort to work together, to work collaboratively, will never go amiss.
I have exhausted my list of 4 or 5 questions, but is there more down here? Senator, Representative Dave.
Yes, Dave. Thank you, Mr. Yoder, for being here this morning. The question I have, from the outside looking in, what really kind of makes Byron attractive in many ways is the proximity to where many people work, but even I think more so the school system over there has always been highly regarded, and I think is an attractor to your community from the standpoint of people wanting to live there. Do you know kind of where that is with respect to, I'll just call it capacity? Is the school at capacity, at least with respect to facilities, or are they in need of a new school? I mean, they have several schools, we know that.
Right.
But is it and maybe you're not familiar either, but is there still room for growth within the school system over there without adding additional schools?
And I'll be very cautious with that because I'm not on the inside workings of the school, but there is room for additional growth.
Okay.
Cautiously, because as they, with open enrollment, what have you, certain grade levels are at capacity, their target grade capacity. Others have room for additional growth. So I think it depends. But as far as the schools go, there is room for additional growth without adding facilities. If we are honest with ourselves and we look at the growth history and the growth projected for our area, Byron specifically, and I look at the opportunities for residential growth, at some point there will likely be a need for additional facilities, but I don't know if that's 10 years or 20 years down the road. There's a lot of questions in there. As we grow in our population, not all of our population are bringing school-aged children with them, and that makes a difference as well. So I know that they're looking at all of that more closely than what I need to from my standpoint, but we have room to expand our schools without adding facilities today.
Just follow-up with respect to pupil formula aid and even local government aid. Byron always fit into this niche where on a per capita basis or per student basis, you were about the lowest in the state. I don't know, has anything happened with respect to your local government aid to make that any better?
No. It's just blunt. I know that it's a struggle for them.
Yeah. Well, you just don't fit the formula.
Right. So we should change the formula.
Members, any other questions? Missing anyone? Thank you very much for making time to be with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity. And again, a huge thank you to all of your staff and their continued support.
Great. All right, so we're going to move to committee reports. And on the agenda today, trying to think who's on the agenda. I think we have a report from Commissioner Senjum on the History Center. And we have a report from Commissioner Tyne on First Homes. Are you ready, Commissioner? Ready to go?
Yes. So thank you, Madam Chair. I'm actually kind of prepared. So with respect to the Olmsted County History Center, frankly, I'll just start out by saying a lot's going on. The staff is preparing a submission for a large legacy application next legislative session with respect to the Stoppel Barn roof restoration, and in fact, the entirety of that project. The State Historic Preservation's Office, as you may or may not recall, last year there was a $500,000 grant awarded to the Stoppel property, and so that's going forward with respect to working with the State Preservation Office with respect to how that all unfolds. This week, we're looking at adding in a director of education, an associate director to the organization, because as it is, it's just been Mr. Ganaway all by himself, and the board has felt that he needed more help. There's a master planning committee who is going to present their proposal for the campus-wide plan on May 23rd this month going forward. More recently, there's been an award from the Minnesota History Organization with respect to, again, the Stoppel Farm Interpretive Plan. There's a museum display out there currently with respect to Gold Cross Ambulance and the emergence of emergency medicine, almost, and I think for those of us that know a little bit about that, emergency medicine with respect to the ambulance service in a more sophisticated fashion literally happened in Olmsted County with John Perkins, and so there's a display out there, and there's been a documentary done on John and his work early on in that area. They're working with IMA on a project on June 22nd, a walk around the world event. They're working with the Plummer House people on an interpretive session with respect to the Plummer House water tower and that renovation. So a lot's going on. In addition to that, they're working with the Post Bulletin. Apparently in 2019, they acquired the totality apparently of the Post Bulletin collection, and it's obviously large, and they're working on the whole question about what reasonably can be saved and what can't. So that's what's going on at History Center. Frankly, a lot's going on, and as I've said before, a very active and ambitious board.
Thank you. Commissioner Tyne.
Well, I actually didn't attend the most recent First Homes meeting because I was up at St. Paul testifying for a subcommittee. Representative Hicks set up on that property that was given to us that had all the tires on it, and so I'll just take this opportunity to thank Haverhill Township Supervisor John Johnson went up there, and Clerk Jerome Lawler had dug up some files from 30-plus years ago that they gave us evidence that the MPCA was involved in this and took ownership of this issue before dropping the ball and ended up in our lap. So kudos to Haverhill Township for keeping those records.
Thank you. Other members with committee reports?
I have a report. Commissioner Wright and I serve on the Public Health Services Advisory Board, and at our last meeting, we had an update about the WIC program. And just to refresh your memories, the WIC program is Women, Infants, and Children. It's been operating in Olmsted County for 49 years. It's generally federally funded, state administered, and county delivered. And so what the county delivers is supplemental nutritious foods, information on healthy eating and breastfeeding, and providing screenings and referrals to healthcare and other social needs. And some updates for 2024 and 2025 are a new WIC data system that's coming, online shopping opportunity for clients coming in 2025, a new requirement for breastfeeding experts, updated food package, which means that there's more cash allotment now for children for fruits and vegetables, expanding pop-up clinics, and online scheduling. So it's all very good news. Anything to add to that, Commissioner Wright?
The only thing that I would add is that the WIC program really did create a model for the rest of the county in that they use people from the cultures that they're trying to serve and age group appropriate for those kinds of things. And that's one of the reasons why they're very successful, is because the people that have been working with WIC were very well accepted by the clients that we're trying to serve. And I know that we're trying to emulate that throughout the county as well.
All right. Other members with reports? I have a couple things to update you on. I represent you on the Coalition for Housing, and they met last week and agreed to move forward with an update to the Maxfield study on housing. Looks like that will take about 6 months from the time the contract's let to get the update with all the, so that we really have some measurable, we can measure progress, but also can set targets on the housing area. Under discussion, and I think probably probably be slightly amended, is a proposal to expand. So the housing study will look at about a 35-mile radius, which is what the area foundation serves. But there's also a discussion about, can we provide that study to counties that surround us, because it would be of help to some of the smaller communities around in the counties around our region, to know what the Maxfield study shows for their housing needs. And because we increasingly know that our workforce, 43,000 people work here, come in here every day. Our workforce is higher than our city population. So are we going to look at Wabasha, Mower, Winona, Dodge, Fillmore counties? And I think Moore is not part of that proposal, to see if they're interested and how much it would cost to do advance the study to look at housing for their regions as well. So that's progress is being made. I'm trying to look at Mr. Dunn. I think those was the sort of the major thing. We do have some other proposals that'll be coming in next month to be seeking some of the state funding. We'll give you updates about them later. I wanted to tell you that the new commissioner of the Department of Children, Youth, and Families was appointed. You may not have paid attention. Her name is Tiki Brown, but she's been serving on this transition team that I've been part of for the last year and a half. They have included in their proposal to the legislature an intergovernmental entity that will be counties, the communities, Minnesota Social Service Administrators, and their own staff and tribes, to be able to look at how we do planning and policy development in collaboration. I think this is based on the State Community Health Advisory Council that's been so successful, so that's good news. That group last week had a briefing on the streamlined Department of Human Services, which will still have thousands of employees, and be a very large department. And we brought up the conversation again, as AMC has done for years and years, that we would like to see an intergovernmental entity that works with the counties and the tribes from the remaining Department of Human Services as well. As long as I've been around here, I still was surprised at how large the Department of Human Services will be and how large the Direct Care and Treatment Department will be. They're just enormously large buildings. So wanted to call that out to you. And then there's another entity that's meeting that I think in the long run will have some bearing for us, which is there's a Human Services Leadership Forum, which has the tribal communities, MACSA, and counties meeting with DHS staff. They are having a meeting at the Lower Sioux tribe at the end, toward the end of May. And I think we are in a really fortunate position because we can start out fresh with Prairie Island as they expand into Olmsted County and have the experience of what the other counties have had. So there's legislation pending that's around the Indian Child Welfare Act that's going to put new requirements on counties, but it has been negotiated out thoroughly with counties and with tribal representatives and the legislature, so we can kind of anticipate that coming forward as well. That's my report. Anything else? All right, then I would recess the committee until the call of the chair, so the board to the call of the chair, so that we can go into our closed session to deal with our settlement agreement. And I assume, looking to Ms. Welsh, that we'll be meeting in room 2. Any other items on our agenda, but I see we have some eminent members of the sheriff's office here. Is there? No, just here to be friendly and protect us. Okay, all right. Mr. Miller, is there anything you needed to bring up? I would therefore entertain a motion to adjourn. And I have a motion and a second.
Move to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.